Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Unsealed and Revealed. Yay! Yay, clapping. There's so much clapping. You can hear it. You're clapping at home, and I understand that. I'm your host, Jeff May, and I am so excited to be here because with me, as always, we have our resident 6-scale expert and all-around muddy guy to know, Guy Klender. Guy, how you doing, bud?
I am doing great, Jeff. I am crazy excited to show you this toy.
Oh, are you? Are
Yeah.
you excited because
Yes.
it's awesome and great?
Yes. Yeah.
Because it is. I'm very excited about this one. And on the ones and twos, we have our moderator, Cassidy. Cassidy, sound off.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey,
See,
Cass.
she's there.
I am
I-
here.
I wasn't lying. I know you can only see two,
Yeah.
but she's there. And she will be in the comments, taking all of your questions, comments, and concerns as we stream live across all these platforms that you are seeing us on right now. So don't be afraid to have your voice heard and ask Cassidy those questions because we have such a fun piece, right? Now, today we're going to be looking at the Han Solo Mudtrooper 6-scale figure by Hot Toys, which Guy has with him. We're very excited. As last Thursday, we're back to Monday. You'll see Guy is back in the studio, and he is so happy to be back. However, you will see that everyone is practicing social distance and being safe over there. We got Brett behind the camera, way more than 6 feet away, wearing a mask. No one else in the studio with Guy. I'm here in my super secret underground lair. And as always, we're doing the best to ensure the safety of ourselves and others, and we hope you are doing the same. Guy, how you doing over there? You feel safe?
Yes. It is very interesting to be the only person here. The closest anyone's been to me all day has got to be about 10 feet, and that was masked and barricaded. So, but it's very safe here, and I feel good.
I want to shout out. Brett is not the camera guy. It is super producer Sam, who
Yes.
I greatly miss. My bad for that, Sam. I apologize.
Well, you also can't see it.
I can't. I have. I'm blind.
So.
This helmet doesn't fit right, and I can't see. So that being said, Guy, as much as I want to keep vamping about how great and safe and wonderful we are, you know me.
Yes.
You know my opinions on the Solo movie. It
Yes.
is, in my opinion, the most fun Star Wars movie made. It's so enjoyable. When I went to see it, I saw it sort of out of Star Wars obligation and left being so stoked and sort of energized by that movie.
I did as well, and that's why I'm so glad that we finally are getting figures from it. And that's because it was one of those where, like you said, I went in going, okay, it's Star Wars, which means I have to see it. And I came out just cheering and wanting to go again, going, this was one of the most fun rides I've had in the Star Wars world in a long time.
It's a genre film. It's a Western heist movie.
Oh
And
yeah, you get a heist. You get the World War I trench thing, which is kind of what we're looking at with this particular one. You get the buddy movie. You get the road trip in a way. You get all of the different styles of films put together, and they work well.
Yeah, and so we have right there the box, and it looks gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And so, without further ado, Guy, I would love to have you take a look at this piece. So why don't you show that?
Let's do this. So this is our classic shoebox style that we've seen before. Now we have that wrap around with the brighter yellow, and it's showing our figure with the helmet off. The photo on the front is showing him with helmet on. All right, so let's slide up and over. There is another great action shot.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, of the figure. I love the photography on this, but I love the way that they've done this figure. And wait till you see how great he looks. All right, so we got our inside box. I'm going to slide this up and out. I have already removed one of my favorite parts of any of them, instructions.
The instructions.
The instructions.
As our returning viewers know, Guy Klender is a huge fan of the instructions. He basically collects instructions, and then 6-scale figures come with them.
Yeah. And they are suitable for framing. These are important to look at, okay? Not only to talk about some of the parts of the weaponry, but also how you can create the different looks of the character. okay? Because he does have very distinct looks that you have in there, so it's important to look at that before you get too far into doing it. So let's remove our top tray and take a look at what we have.
See our Alden, Alden Ehrenreich? Is that his name? Yeah.
Yes. And it's an incredible sculpt of him. So here we go. I've removed the plastic that'll be the protective coverings, but this is what you're going to have in there. Up here, you have your helmet, and what you can't see is underneath there's a second hair sculpt. We've got the goggles, the respirator, chin strap, the additional hands, blaster, and our pegs. I'm going to move him up and out here. Well, there you go. You got to see something very special about this. Well, that's because I was playing with the helmet there. And then below, we have our base. So let's take a peek at our base first. Okay, from the overhead cam, you can see that it has kind of a desert or mud look. Okay, this is more mud look than other. There's a slight texture on it. It's not raised, however, okay? It's a printed and attached to it, but it gives it a little bit of life. We've got our standard nameplate there.
Yeah, there it is. That's Han Solo.
With Han Solo. All right, so that's our plate that we have in there. I'm going to set that back for a moment while I place our figure up here. Boom. This is a straight out of the box, non-pose peek at the figure. All right.
Look at that.
And you see scratches, the mud, the beat up quality of the figure all the way around.
That's gorgeous.
Okay.
Guy, I just want to shout out how relieved you must feel right now to have Sam on the camera to do this wonderful pan up and down for
this
you.
is fantastic. When I try to do this on my own or try with a phone camera, I have not done well.
Yeah. God, look at that. The weathering, shout out to Hot Toys, to their art department. The weathering on this piece is utterly fantastic. This is obviously...
even weathered underneath. Look at the mud even flipped up.
From the battle of, I believe it was Mimban, where it was, where he ends up meeting Woody Harrelson and et al., and really sort of establishing his pathway to the rebellion after leaving the Empire. And I can't wait to look at the accessories that come with this to show sort of foreshadowing of what Star Wars has going on.
So now let's take a look at the head sculpt that we have there, all right? And what's interesting about this is when I do my different looks, when I want to attach the helmet, which I'm going to hold up here, it has a specialized hairpiece.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Well, we've seen this before.
Yes. We've seen this before. We saw this a little bit recently when we took a look at how our Krennic was done. Now let's take, when we do it there, again, great use of magnets. What I want to show off here with when I remove that is even how they've done the slow fade on the hairline there. So whichever one you're going to use, whether you're going to have him helmeted or not, it really just has a natural look to it. It's not some hard,
it's not a
hard hairline on there. Now on the back of there, you see that there is a groove. Okay, that groove is how you attach
the helmet.
Is how you attach the chin strap.
Oh.
Okay, it's how you attach chin strap. One, if you're going to have him without the respirator on. Okay, so I'm going to show you that one, and then the other is how you do the respirator. So let's take a look at the accessories, and then we're going to attach the helmet on there. So this is your chin strap. This is your helmet, and that's your magnetic head, or magnetic hairpiece. I should get a magnetic hairpiece.
God, I feel like nobody will be fooled.
Not this far in, but so that's a little of how those go. And this is, like I said, it's important. It's in your instructions on when you do this. So to change to our helmeted look, We're going to swap out the additional hairpiece. Okay, I'm going to gently hold the chin part on and take the elastic over the back of the head and into said groove. Let's take a look at that there.
We do have one quick question from YouTube. Is this hair muddy as well?
Is the hair mudded out? No.
He's got that nice helmet.
Yeah, the helmet.
True.
The helmet dealt with the flips up from that. So there is, we're going to switch over to our camera there, and you see elastic, chin strap on like so. Then our helmet, magnet again. What I'm loving about the use of the magnets all the time is that you know exactly where the piece has to go. There's so much less fiddling around going, did I get it right? Did I get it right? Did I get it right?
Yeah, it grooves really well. Are you, for this piece, are you going to do chin strap?
Yes. Yeah, what I'm going to do right now is how I'm going to do it. He has the respirator, and that's really, I think it's a great accessory and a neat piece. However, because it kind of covers the figure, I won't be displaying it that way, but it is great to have it. If you wanted to, again, have your Mudtrooper type army, you could do one that way. And we'll talk about that.
I like, one of the things I love about Alden Ehrenreich and the way he performed the character is that he obviously took sort of notes on Harrison Ford, but didn't try to just be Harrison Ford's replacement. And I like that where he owned it. He owned the piece himself. And it does sort of remind me of sort of like that James Bond thing where you accept that a character is going to be played by different people, and you just have fun. And
you just go with it.
I really bought into it with this actor. I think he was really great.
All right, so these are our goggles. We're gonna Sam's gonna give me a close-up here so we can kind of take a look at these. You may even see the splashed mud on the lenses. Okay?
Yeah,
you get the different blends of metal that are used for it.
And I like that it is sort of the precursor to what we're going to see in Stormtrooper helmets.
Yes.
Versus Clone Trooper helmets.
So then we take a look to the side. It is an elastic that I've told you about. That little splash of color with that orangish red. I want to spin it around here so you can see the lenses are not transparent.
So you can't
but
use those.
They were dark in the film anyway, that you did not see the character's eyes. So I'm fine with them doing that. That way.
Yeah. Who's going to complain? Who's going to be like, I couldn't see through the?
Yeah, I couldn't see the eyes through it. Now I'm going to be placing that up and over on the right side of the helmet. You have a little peg here, or a little greebly.
Yeah.
Okay, underneath, and it does have a small notch. So I'm going to go onto that side first. All right. Slide up and over.
I really love this scene too.
Oh, it's great. This was such a fun scene. This was this scene here, the beach scene in Rogue One, taking him out of space and out of what we've seen as far as like kind of desert planet things was really pretty neat. So okay, there we go.
It's a Hoth vibe, yeah. Yeah, you get that vibe of like what it felt like on Hoth, like the war.
Yeah, we're in a whole different place. So this is how I'm going to have him.
Yeah,
okay.
I would think so.
I like them up. I like the reveal of the face, but we're going to get a little closer there so you can see how that is.
Yeah, I love the sort of the vibe that the character has during this, where he's just like, no, this is not worth it.
This is awful. 3 years into him joining up. But look how there's the spatter, as well as kind of the wear and natural paint nicks on that helmet.
That feels like it's going to be fun if you're working for a company like Hot Toys or Sideshow, and you get to work on the art aspect of that to establish sort of the weathering. That seems fun. That seems like it would be fun to do.
I think you've got times where you need to make this the shiniest Iron Man suit ever, and then juxtaposed with, we need this to be muddy and dirty and really not a clean spot on it.
Yeah. Really like it.
Now, I'm going to lift those down, and they will go over the character's eyes. All right, again, taking a little look at that one there. And the other look that we can do is with the respirator. Okay? This is a pretty amazing one as well, as far as the look of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be using the head with the hairpiece with the groove.
The groovy handpiece.
The groovy handpiece. I am not going to be using my chin strap on this one here, so I can put that back, and I will be using the goggles. So to do this one here, this is a little bit different. We're probably going to go to the overhead so I can be a little more delicate with it. So let's take a look over here at how we're doing it. Now, the hose tubes have a wire in them and are flexible and move. Now they have to go behind said cape. So,
oh, this is why the instructions are so important.
These are why the instructions are important. So here, that is the back. Okay, that is the pack. And we've got 2 holes there. So what I'm going to be doing is lifting the cape a little bit, sliding the one up and under, doing the same on the other side. Okay, so there I've got them pulled through.
Oh, yep.
And then I plug them in like so. Now,
you gotta breathe.
Yeah, the front of the respirator is a plastic that will be right up against the face. Okay, when you do it. So now that is a personal preference on whether or not you want to display it with the respirator or not, but we're going to do it for now.
When it goes, is it very tight when it goes on, or
yep,
does it
it's going to be it's going to be snug. That elastic is going to be pulling it back to keep it in place. So I'm going to move those around. Make sure my elastic isn't twisted around. Like so. So we've got our respirator on. Place my helmet with magnet back on. Take my goggles and
oh man, that's a beauty, huh?
it's really cool. I've been excited for the solo stuff when they first teased these, and I think many were wondering, would we ever really see them? And so I'm glad that we are. It's definitely worth the wait, I'll tell you that. So let's take a look. There he is, a little bit more in that dark helmet thing you were referring to.
Yeah, it also, like, you look at it and this is almost sort of cleverly so a hodgepodge of different Imperial designs here, because he's got the helmet. He's got the helmet of an ATST driver, the goggles of a stormtrooper, and the mouthpiece of a TIE fighter pilot.
Yep.
So, and it makes sense that each of those would be individual, because TIE fighter pilots obviously have the full vacuum seal suit in case they have to eject. And, you know, the ATST drivers wouldn't be wearing the goggles or a respirator because they're in contained unit, and the stormtrooper goggles for, you know, so they can miss easier. But, you know, to see them all pieced together, like the love of Star Wars that you can see in this design is really fun.
Oh yeah, that's what I. There's so much neat design in this entire film, from seeing the Falcon a different way, but bringing in things that we know and stuff that we will eventually see that will be slightly different later in the future was great. So this is one of the looks, and again, looking down, every single part is dirtied. Those are very muddy shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very muddy shoes. Since we're down at the shoes, let's talk a little bit about these shin guards. Okay, which I love the design on these with kind of that spike, which, I guess if you were down on one crouched, they would kind of dig into the ground and be a bit more stable, which is kind of fun. You'll see the one is straight down, and this one here is cracked.
Oh.
That's the design. That's not the toy. That's because this is worn. They're out there.
Oh.
They're out there in battle. So these are individual pieces. They're not, right and left are identical. There is a difference of the two. So look at that. I mean, the Imperial buckle with the, it was probably painted green in order to be a bit of camouflage, but it keeps getting scratched up. And so they've done that there. Again, that nice little splash of color with the red there.
Yeah.
But dinked up.
Is it a red? Because to me it looks a bit more orange.
No, this one, the arm one here is a deeper red. It is appearing orange with the lights here. But
okay.
The one up top there on the helmet is a much more orange style.
Okay.
It's a much more orange.
Yeah, they look like a very similar. It almost has the Boba Fett's.
Yes,
guard
yeah. It's got a bit of that Boba Fett color on that one there. I want us to go back to him in more of a neutral look without the respirator. And we are going to talk articulation, paint, and everything else. It's such a neat look.
Oh yeah, look at it. It's such a beauty.
It is. There we go. Magnetically attached. And what's so neat is just, and we've seen this now with the two of them, is when we have had that removable headpiece, is just how tight that hairline still stays.
Yeah.
We're not getting a real serious cut anywhere.
Now, do you have, because there's a what you would consider a classic solo vibe 6 scale as well with the with his sculpt. So would there be a temptation for you to pose him just as, in a way, a generic Mudtrooper and put him with troopers as well?
I will say I now have I have ordered 2 of these. So one will be a generic Mudtrooper and him kind of standing in front of that. So Hot Toys also posted when they took some promo photos where they had him kind of holding the helmet when he was like this, which I also thought was a neat style. Okay, see the little strings there and this and these are the ways his cape or poncho would attach. These are not loose strings. Okay, so don't think you need to cut those.
Please don't cut anything off of it.
Yeah, these are not loose. These are not loose strings, but really neat. When you look up there, is there what is so difficult to do in paint and sculpt is to get that kind of 5 o'clock shadow look, and they've done a really. I mean, it's so light, but it is there. This is not a fresh, clean-shaven guy. He is out in the mud. Now, we got asked, was there any mud on the hair? There's not, but you do see those color variations. Look at that, particularly there, from the lighter area of the part to the darker onto the side. But this is a clean sculpt as far as head.
Yeah, it looks great.
Okay, so not a muddy.
They really nailed the hair.
Yes. So not a muddy face.
Are you getting hair envy?
I believe me, I'm getting hair envy. A lot of hair envy.
We got to get a nice molded 1-to-1 scale Han Solo hair.
Yeah, and with the magnet, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to get a magnet put in there.
You'd look like the worst RoboCop.
Right now, people, do you ever cosplay as Star Wars? And the only one that would really work is if I do Lobot.
That would work.
But
with his little headphones on.
And I could listen to podcasts and all that. It'd be great. So let's take a look head down at our design there. Okay, there's that front chest plate. dropping down, and I'm going to lift the cape up while we spin to show off the back plate as well. While we
yeah, we got a peek of that when you showed the respirator system, and it looked really great. Especially the back has a very Stormtrooper vibe. The front kind of gave me almost like a Boba Fett-y vibe, and it might be just the color, but the back really does sort of look like a Stormtrooper recoloring.
Yeah. I mean, there's that circle. If on the other side it had the two, the 011 kind of dash things, but great look on there. See how this is scratched all the way around, which is very, very neat. I do want to say before we get any further about the outfit, this is not a removable costume. So
sorry, fans.
Yeah, there's no reason. There's no reason to, but it is not a removable one. So
what's that cord again? There's that like
there's a kind of a fabric one over it, and since we never saw in the film what it is, we can expect that it was probably part of something that if they carried a backpack or something like that. But it's not a functional piece. It's more of a design.
It's an aesthetic choice of its function in film, but aesthetic on the toy.
Correct.
Okay.
Even down on the lower back of the jacket, we're still getting that mud and beaten, and this is applied after. So this is, it just really has a great look. Even his gloves, a little dirty, very dirty on the pants. I love his boots with the shin guard.
I couldn't help but notice where our camera is right now.
Yeah, it's probably a bit, and Sam's going back up.
Up.
But we're going to go back down again.
Yeah.
Because we've got these incredible boots. Shoes. And what's probably important to see in those incredible boots.
Yes, this is what I'm here for.
Okay, you ready?
What I need, baby.
You ready, Jeff?
Show me.
Show you the tread. Look at the stitching.
They're like little mud boots.
But look at the stitching. There's the stitching on the leather piece around as well. And a bit of a traction bit there on the heel.
Oh, I love the main foot vibe, the tread that's on the main foot.
Yep.
Yeah, that works. That's what it would be like.
Yep. I mean, not only do I like that, I love this little stitching all around. The classic style. Now this is a leather boot or leather-esque boot, and then the shin guard is over top, and it is attached. And again, this is not a removable piece. You do have flexible ankle in there, so we're going to talk a little bit about articulation on here. All right. Now with this, particularly this side here, when you're doing it, remember you've got that sharper point. So
yeah, be careful.
Be careful when you're doing it. You've got a little bit of
slide that up a bit.
Yep, you've got a little bit of move in there if I need to do it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
boom.
Smart.
Since we've got it there, let's take a look. That's our knee bend. We can go back, drop it through the mud. Again, not attached on the knee, so that'll kind of go out. And even under the kneecap there, muddy and messy. Muddy and messy. I guess this was one of the longest scenes for them to film. The scene where he's in this outfit fighting with Chewbacca was 3 weeks of filming.
Yeah, no, that tracks.
Yeah, so, and to have to get mudded up all the time.
Yeah, the consistency of that must have been, tracking that. But yeah, that makes sense because a lot of the other stuff would have been what I'm assuming is clean and kind of streamlined set work. A lot of stuff was filmed in and on the Falcon.
Yeah.
And the only other stuff that I can really think of that would have been difficult might have been Kessel, but they were clean.
Right, but they're clean. This would have been that constant have to be dirty but look consistent in that.
This is some real All Quiet on the Western Front vibes here for the design and the shooting. Yeah.
Since we've got him up here, our traditional twist joint, and
Very
neck.
flexible.
Okay, and the neck also down further into the body has the pivot point as well, giving you plenty
Oh, I love the double pivots on the necks.
giving you
It's such
plenty
a
of
great thing to do.
plenty of options. Now let's take a look at what our arms will do. We've got that pauldron. They do lift a little bit, so we're gonna extend up.
Yeah, you
We
do
can
that.
extend
As
up.
we're doing that.
We can extend up just about there.
Good.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah, that's not bad. It's with the way the armor, obviously, it's not as high as
Correct.
some go, but that also tracks for a soldier that is trudging through the mud,
Right.
covered in armor, covered in 80 pounds of armor. While we have this, 'cause I just realized we just crested halfway through the show, and we haven't heard much from Cassidy. Cassidy, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns from the audience?
Actually, yes. I have a handful of questions.
Oh, please do.
So Jen Edwards on the Let Your Geek Sideshow Facebook group wants to know, is the chest plate removable? Which I don't think it is, but
It is telling me it is not, and I would not see how you would remove it. So I will not be removing it, and I am going to tell you, no, you cannot. I'm not.
Gotcha.
There's no attached seam or Velcro bit. It's on there. The entire outfit is a non-removable costume. It's a
Gotcha.
non-removable costume.
we have a really fun question
Yes.
from Bobby Kyo on Facebook. He wants to know if you guys could have any other character from the Solo movie made into a figure, who would it be and why?
I'm going to let you go first, Jeff.
Wow, thanks. Thank you for that. I because I am a fan of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I might go LV.
She's amazing.
She,
love
know,
her.
it was funny because I wasn't too familiar with her before Solo, and I was like, who is this? And then did some research, and I was like, oh man, this lady's awesome. I do like that. It's funny because Solo, like Dryden Voss, was such a cool character, and we got our Warwick Davis cameo, and Memphis Nest was great. Jon Favreau was in it.
Yeah.
Like,
Favreau. I mean, it's a brief thing, but it's now there's one. If they did that figure, I dug it. Remember, he was a Mudtrooper for a moment.
yeah. It would be, God, that would be hard. It might be LV, but I also liked Kira. The fact that, by the way, they made a Terrascasi reference. If any of you are my hardcore Star Wars nerds, you would have geeked out as hard as I did when Kara beat everybody up and then said, it's Terrascasi. And I lost my mind. And shout out in the comments if you know what Terrascasi is. I love and respect you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Akira just because it needs to be a companion piece. But she's got multiple outfits, so I got to be honest, I'm not sure which one I'd want her in. Maybe that white jacket.
To go next to your Mudtrooper.
He wouldn't go next to my Mud. He'd go next to my regular, clean version of Han.
It was, there was a lot of, it's funny because I feel like Solo is unfairly maligned in the Star Wars canon, and I feel like people forgot how rich the cast was.
Yeah.
Like how really, really cool it was, and just how great they could tie everything in. I'm clamoring for a Solo 2, and
Yep.
I'm not sure it performed admirably for a lot of different reasons that we don't need to get into it. But I love that movie.
I'm hoping we see more return to him.
Yeah.
Any other cast before I get back to articulation?
Hold on. Cassidy didn't answer.
Oh yeah.
I do have an answer. I would love to see Lando. I love Donald Glover.
Oh.
I'm a big Childish Gambino fan. So, I mean, if I
Yeah.
could collect him in a figure, then why not?
You know what? That would be neat.
Yeah, also just a fun character that he played in general. But I do agree that the cast was very rich and that it is kind of hard to choose from. Yes, we do have more questions, though. Ryan Jaco on the Sideshow Facebook group, I believe, wanted to know, is there any pleather material or is it all plastic and fabric?
The boots, right?
The boots. The boots are that man-made leather. Okay. They are, and The other is under the main body of the belt is going to be. The buckle and the side pouches are not. And that is it. Those are the 3 areas with man-made leather. The rest is fabric-based.
Gotcha. Another question Carl on YouTube wanted to know. He said that he knows that paint wear is a concern with plastic on plastic, and he wants to know if, Guy, you're concerned about pigment bleed from the mask to the face.
I'll say that that's definitely a concern. It's one of the reasons I will. I mean, my first reason for not covering the figure with the respirator like that is simply that I love the sculpt and I want him as he was in the film, where we see him with the goggles up and him trying to figure out how to get the heck out of the situation he's in. But yes, I think if that's the way you display it, I think it would be best to make sure, as like we've talked about before, with your temperature and climate. But I would probably be checking that every once in a while to make sure that there was a non-bleed. But yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. The one and only Obi-Wan Kenobi on YouTube wants to know, is that red and orange part from a short trooper on there? I think on his arm right there.
Oh, on his right arm?
Yeah.
Well, as Jeff spoke to, I think a lot of his armament, a lot of the Mudtrooper armament, these are armaments that I don't want to say are interchangeable, but yeah, you're going to have those kind of things. So that could be from a shore trooper. We've talked about the helmet kind of being similar to the AT-AT drivers and the chest.
ATST.
Or ATST.
The AT-AT drivers had the sort of TIE fighter pilot.
Yeah.
In white.
Correct.
Vibe.
Yeah, I'm thinking the generals behind them.
Yeah.
You may start
like
your landing.
General Veers.
Yeah, General Veers. I'm thinking that helmet behind him. So, but yes. So it is possible. If the question is it a reused element? No, this is not one that they've used from another figure.
Oh, not from another piece. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm clarifying for both possible ways in which the question could be phrased.
I think the answer is in Star Wars canon, probably yes. And if not reused, then pre-used, right? Like
Correct.
Kind of leading towards that. But obviously in the Hot Toys canon, this is original piecing. That's kind of how they do it here.
Yep. Any other Cass?
I kind of just flew through them, but if any more come up,
Great.
I will interrupt you. No worries.
Okay. Great. Well, let's take a look at our articulation here. We saw about how far I could do the arm. Your arms here will go a little bit above 90.
In case he needs to shoot first.
Ooh, yes. Now, I do want to show you the underbody. The underbody is a thin body on this one here. And I think that's so the suit will actually kind of fit a little better and not show quite the bulk.
Yeah, you don't need him to be meaty under the already
correct. And I also think it works for when you are posing, that the fabric lays a little. I don't want to say more naturally, but it lays a little bit loose.
More naturally.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll say more naturally. Let's talk about our forward arm motion. Okay, we can go quite a ways. Again, just be careful with my foot because that's on the elastic there. I can move it a little when I'm going to move the figure. Okay. Now under this armor, under the suit, there is a little bit of padding. Okay, and that's just to kind of fill out the body, so it's not clunking around. The armor's not flopping around on it.
Yeah.
Our waist bend.
Yeah, I was wondering this one. Okay, so it's good. Oh yeah, I like those stretches.
Yep. Your classic stretches.
Those stretches feel so good. I call them the old-timey stretch.
The old-timey stretch.
I call them my old-timey stretch when I'm working out. You do them side bends.
We get good motion as far as forward in the waist, and the belt kind of lifts up under.
Yeah. He's looking down that pit, being like, "What's down there? What
Yeah,
am
what's
I
that?
about
Yeah.
to get thrown into?"
I don't want to be thrown in the pit. Yeah, that does not look enjoyable. Next up, let's talk about leg and knee. They do pivot out on the leg. Okay, we do have that thigh pivot. We showed the knee. Let's show our forward motion to about so.
Now I can hear as you're moving it. I can hear the piece moving. Is it ratcheted or is it?
No, it is not a ratcheted piece.
It sounded like the smooth movement.
Yeah, what you're hearing is kind of the movement of the fabric and the joints. So these are a nice tight joint on there as well. But no to the idea of the ratcheting.
There's a benefit I like to say with the non-superhero, because superheroes tend to wear the tight clothing and have the larger muscles. Of when it's just, oh, here's just a regular dude. To have that sort of thinner frame, I think really does add to sort of the ability to sort of boost the armament and the posability as well to the piece. I'm seeing this as you're going through that.
Okay, so you get a good leg spread on there as well. Now, let's talk about accessories we've not looked at yet, and that is going to be our additional hands.
Yeah, we've got like six hands or something?
6 hands total, the 2 he has, and then 4 additional.
Yeah.
2
hands.
2 trigger and 2 fist.
That is an aggressive grouping of hands.
Yes, fisticuffs.
Trigger and fist.
Trigger and fist. That could be a neat cop show. Trigger and fist. Here we go. So what you've got there is the mud. Like I see again, all the mud on them. Kind of got that pullover, tight wrist action there. But look at the untextured leather on the inside.
That's good stuff right
so,
there.
So it's like the leather in part of the glove and a fabric on the outer part of the gloves. And those work beautifully with this next piece.
Oh, look at that.
Our blaster. And that's pretty.
That's a good one.
Look at the weathering on there. The stock having that bit of chrome and beat. Metal and the brass.
Yeah, that's that good stuff. Metal and the brass.
And then our front. Now, couple things about this particular one. The stock here in the back, very thin.
It does adjust for that shoulder bump there.
Yep, it does adjust. Now, be cautious with that because those are very thin.
Piece, yeah.
The other one
is that true nylon? The
shoulder strap.
Or yeah.
Yep.
God, that's cool.
Yep. And then our front. We see this in one like frame or two, one of the Mudtroopers in the back where they're extended out. The little deal there. I mean,
Hot Toys saw it in one frame,
which is what Star Wars toys have been doing for us forever.
Yeah, Hot Toys is like, you know what? We're gonna do it.
Let's do it. Let's make that move. It looked like it did that. But we've got there. You've got the flashlight that would be on the side there, and notice it's got the glossy lens. What's also neat is the sights on there. Old school style of sight, which is neat. I mean, what's always fun in the Star Wars world is taking existing items and then they would modify them. And so this one here is a great use of that. And I'm gonna slide the hand on. So you see we've got.
Yeah. Did you say that both were trigger? So
yes, you've got a right or a left. This is the right hand. You also have a left trigger if you wanted. Okay, so you can have him hold in either hand, and then the hands that he comes with are in a relaxed and open.
See, I was going to ask about that, and the reason why was because this is exactly why. I was going to say, there's a way to two-hand the rifle without making it look strange, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd.
Yeah, so it can hold the
Yep, you
the
can
body
you
of
can
it.
you
Okay.
can hold it like so. So, if you like, I will.
Yeah. And side note, if you are just joining us, Guy here is working with the Han Solo Mudtrooper 6-scale figure by Hot Toys from Solo, a Star Wars story. We are currently looking at the accessories right now. As you can see, he is putting hands on hand. That's what he's doing. He's putting hands on hand. But yeah, and if you have questions, comments, or concerns, of course, please feel free to ask in the chat, and Cassidy will relay them to us if we know them.
Jeff, there you go.
Yes.
You were asking about a two-handed.
Yes,
Hold.
because that I think might not be the worst kind of pose there.
I will be. These are the hands I'll be using, and I'll have it with the helmet on. I do want to show in those open hands. We're gonna drop down on the front camera. Jeff, I talked about how it's leather and cloth combination, or
Yes.
that's the look of it. You can see that beaten leather and how you get, on work gloves, you'll get those padded areas in the palm. That you can see that
God, that's so good.
in that hand. See?
Those
Those little pads and stitches. Isn't that cool?
I'm so enamored by the sort of the skill that it takes to put those things together, because I am relatively useless. And so when I see something like this being done, where they put that much thought and effort into the detail, but even the fact that they would consider the detail is so good.
Yeah. Crazy good. I've just quickly put the helmet back on.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh, yeah. See that? God, that's good.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
It was funny. I liked how big the helmet looked on him during the film. How clunky and sort of.
Yeah, it was like
how much the Empire didn't really seem to care about its own soldiers.
Well, yeah, I think they had a one size fits all kind of idea, and that was it. Here's your helmet. This is
Yeah, they looked at him and they said, "Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper?"
Yeah, this is crazy exciting because this is a figure in a movie that I so enjoyed and wondered would we see a lot or anything from it, and now of course we have, and there's a beautiful deluxe figure as well. So I'm glad to get to see the representation of this telling of this part of the story of this character. So
yeah, no, I do really like that. I love the gritty stuff. I love the gritty Star Wars stuff. It's why I like the sort of the grit of Rogue One as well. I like Wars and Stars, but I also, when you read, I don't know if you're a reader of the books or anything like that, but when you see the real sort of like down on the ground,
the down on the ground stuff, it to me is really interesting, and that's why I like that we've seen this. I think that's why Hoth was such a neat thing when we saw it in Empire. Right. It was like, oh wait, this is happening on the ground.
Yeah, it's like, and you forget about that. I feel like Clone Wars covers that better than anything that you have, and there are some books that really cover that. I remember there was a series of Battlefront books that came out that really knock out the sort of the grit of that, and even for the bigger characters like Lords of the Sith, Vader and Palpatine on the ground. That's a great book, by the way. If you ever have a chance.
While I've got the figure turned backward, this part here, is stitched in all. It's not a hood. It's not a hood. This stitching that kind of cinches it together. That's just it's to give it life and give it the way that lays down. So, it's not a little hood or anything. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
We do have one quick question from Facebook. Matt Hess wants to know, is the face sculpt the same as the deluxe Solo figure set?
I believe so, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
I believe we're seeing the same sculpt. It's not really, I wouldn't say it's a reused sculpt as they did this at the same time. This wasn't a pull something out that they already had. But I think it's a great looking sculpt. It really has that. And there's a start of that smirk that his character had.
I love the vibe. He's so handsome. But the vibe of the character is they really nailed sort of the vibe of Han from this film here.
I'm gonna slide those downward. Just wanted to show when we fully extend that gun part out, how unique that is.
Let's see. Let's get it in there. Oh, that's cool looking.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
He's a beautiful figure, and it's so nice to have this character represented this way. It's been worth the wait. I believe it was just about 2 years ago this week that the film came out.
Yeah, I think so. I really, because I think it's important. I think honesty is important. I was not stoked on this movie when it came out. Maybe, I don't know why. I just wasn't super into it. And I went to it thinking like I have to see it. It's like the law that I see it. And as I'm watching it, I was just sitting there being like, oh, I'm really dumb for not giving this a chance mentally that I should have.
Going into it? But maybe that made
fun.
it more fun, is that you again had a low, I don't want to say a low expectation level, but you were a little more open to it. I had people telling me, you're such a huge Harrison Ford fan with Indiana Jones and Han Solo. Aren't you worried seeing somebody else do that? You're going to have a problem. And I went, I'm going on the ride. And I got out of there, and I was smiling so big, and I was like, this is the most fun I've had in a Star Wars movie probably since Empire Strikes Back, in just awe and enjoyment and everything. And so I'm super excited to see him done this way.
Agreed. I Solo, to me, and I've said this, I think I've said this on this show, Empire Strikes Back is my favorite, and I think the best made Star Wars film of all time. And Solo, for me, is far and away the most fun Star Wars movie that I've seen. I love it. Whenever I see people looking down on it, I'm like, oh, so you don't want like a fun Star Wars movie. You want your fandom to be angry all the time. Well, go on, have fun with it.
Have fun with the
It's such a blast. It's so much fun. I really loved it, and I loved seeing it. I loved seeing sort of like the YT-300. Where it's like, oh, they have an escape pod. That's why it has that notch in it, and they got rid of it, and that's fun. We saw the Kessel Run. There's so much. There's so many Easter eggs.
Yeah, that we wanted to see. Show me this game that they play. Show me, throwbacks to to our chessboard.
The Jarek holo game board. Yeah. You see the.
Yeah. Or
Is it weird that I can name all the little holograms?
No, not at all. I have the little holograms.
Yeah, the Mantelian Savrip and all that, and the.
I am pleased that you have that knowledge.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're there.
I would. Now I wish I sat with you in the theater watching this for you to point out and go, "Oh my goodness," and actually name each chessboard piece.
It's very roller coastery. I really love that. Cassidy, I'm going to hit you one last time here.
Yes.
Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns? Because it looks like we're going to start wrapping up soon.
One last quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Is the cape wired from Instagram? Someone wants to know.
Nope. This is a non-wired cape, and that is due to the lightness of the way the fabric is and how it would have been there. This would have been probably a very light nylon-esque thing. I have a feeling this would be the kind of thing that they would use to kind of cover themselves from something and things like that. So it's not a heavy style cape.
Yeah, God, that lends well. And
isn't that neat? That look how you don't see when I tell you that magnetically the piece of hair, and then like I said when you go and you do something like that just makes the blend of hairline.
Yeah, it makes it really transition
so natural,
literally seamlessly.
Yeah, and I want a magnetic hairpiece. I really do. You got me thinking, Jeff. You got me thinking.
I feel like this could work great, and doesn't it all have?
It's a win for everyone, right?
Yeah, you wearing a magnetic hairpiece just seems like it would be something popping out of like a Zucker parody film. Just like the width of my headphones, you know. So that being said, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. You've been an amazing audience. I love those questions and comments. I really do. I love having Cassidy sort of deliver those to us, and I love that we get to answer them. The questions were great. I really like that.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
For those of you that are interested in any of our giveaways, every week we have our Let Your Geek Sideshow Facebook groups, #StayInSideShow challenge going on. The group is awesome. It's a big welcoming community with tons of Sideshow exclusive news, giveaways, etc. Currently, we're wrapping up our Through the Looking Glass prompt, where we call for forced perspective photos of your collectibles. So you get to be a little artistic as you're doing that. And for a chance, you can win the Alice fairy tale figure by J. Scott Campbell. I love J. Scott Campbell. I've loved his work for a very long time, and I love these pieces. Cassidy will drop the link to that in the chats real quick. I think it's like right soon, right? Almost now.
Now.
Right now.
Right now.
Guy, you're the man. Thank you so much for doing that. Now, we will see you again tomorrow for our all-accessible, no gym required workout live stream, Get Super with Joshy G. If you haven't been doing these workouts, I can't suggest them enough. They are relatively short. They're not easy, but they are things that you can do. And I know some of us have been getting a little cooped up. We've been feeling a little trapped. These are things we can do in our homes or in our backyards. We can knock out a really, really great workout. I am loving them and hating Joshy G at the same time because he's making my arms burn. But check out Get Super tomorrow with Joshy G. That will be our live stream. Guy, again, thank you. You are an absolute treasure.
Thank you. It's great to see you.
Oh, I know. I miss you. I can't wait till hugging becomes legal.
Yes.
Cassidy, thank you so much on the ones and twos for taking care of that.
Of course, yeah.
And thank you, of course, to our amazing, fantastic, and safe crew that we have working on here. You are all so important to us, and we appreciate you. And yes, I will clap for that. And as always, you, the fans, are the best. Without you, we don't exist.
No.
So thank you so much. Thanks for sticking around, of course, and don't forget to let your geek side show.